Hi, Kalisha. This is Daniel, and just wanted to comment more on the TED Talk and the emphasis of your post. I've watched a lot of TED Talks, and I've never watched something along this topic. It's not something I was looking for, and it's not something I guess I anticipated right now working in a counseling environment. So I'm glad you brought this up. Now, I find this topic interesting as often when you hear of polyamory, we think of polygamy, which is one man with multiple wives, and I believe that's been around for a long time. I mean, the Bible talks about it, in the Old Testament. I think King David, a guy after God's own heart, had multiple wives, and there's numerous examples, from then until now. It's been around for a long time. But this isn't exactly what he's talking about. Uh, he's talking about having multiple relationships, loving relationships, but loving in the sense where it can be sexual but also social all at the same time. And it's a challenge to think of. And the whole time he's explaining this, I was thinking he's trying to use logic and trying to use some statistics like 1 out of 2 marriages, or yeah, 50% of marriages end in divorce, or 3/4 of relationships have an infidelity. Now, there wasn't any citation of his sources, and I know at least the 50% of marriages part is. Sorry, I just lost my thought. But he is trying to use logic and come away where he's slowly explaining to the audience how to sell his idea. And he talks about love. Well, don't you love your family? Don't you love this? Is it possible to do this? And what he's doing is he's trying to take this almost taboo subject for a lot of people and slowly reframe it so it appears nicer, calmer, and more likable, and tries to and the emphasis of this is know your needs, have your needs met, communicate your needs, and be aware of other people's needs. And I can see this as very selfish of a viewpoint, and definitely don't agree with it on any sense. But there is the possibility that we could counsel someone like that, and that will be a challenge. Now, I have some experience having lived in other places of the world, specifically in Islamic countries and such, where polygamy is allowed, where there's one husband and multiple wives. And this kind of thing is, it destroys the family in a sense, because you have two wives trying to compete against each other for favor of the husband, who gets more nights with who makes the best food, who gets more favor, who bears the most kids. And it becomes an ingrained but culturally okay creation of hatred within the family and despising within the family. And there isn't a sense of unity in that. In fact, I grew up as a missionary's kid. My uncle and aunt have been missionaries in parts of Africa, and they say the worst thing that Islam has done for families, the worst thing is polygamy and marrying multiple wives, because it destroys the family, it destroys the humanity, it destroys the sanctity of the individual. Destroys an individual's worth, because you're trying to continually prove it to someone else, when, as Christians, we understand our worth is from God, not because of who we've married, how many kids we've had, or anything else. Nevertheless, great topic, and there's a whole lot more to say, but I don't need to ramble on. Thanks for listening.